En el 2022 solo 1.6% de las personas que vieron mis vídeos estaban suscritas a mi canal. Por favor suscríbete que me ayudarías mucho.
Carl R. Rogers, as the originator of client-centered therapy and a vigorous champion of a humane, person-oriented tradition in American psychology, has been without doubt the most influential leader in the counseling profession. Through his many writings, which include On Becoming a Person, Client-Centered Therapy, and on counseling and psychotherapy, and through national leadership, which has included the presidency of the American Psychological Association, Dr. Rogers has served as a model of scientific integrity, personal openness, genuineness, and warmth to two generations of professionals. From his early interest in individual therapy, his interests have broadened to include a deep and abiding concern with the process of education, best expressed in his book, Freedom to Learn, the potential of the encounter group movement, reflected in his book, Carl Rogers on Encounter Groups, and marriage and the relationships between men and women, the subject of his book, On Becoming Partners. In this film, Dr. Rogers interviews a couple about what the experience of partnership has been like for them. In a commentary after the interview, he indicates what he observed and learned from participating in the session.
You're Nancy, is that right?
Right.
Me too. John?
Yeah, good.
I think what I'd hope for is that I'd like to know what in your marriage has been, what have been some of the most meaningful or significant aspects or elements. They might be good, they might be bad. You might both have quite the same point of view, you might have very different points of view, but it's that kind of thing that I'd like to see if I can get from you. And part of the reason is that I think that in spite of all the books about marriage and all that kind of stuff, there is very little that gives a picture of what marriage is like, or partnerships are like, whether marriage or not, as seen through the eyes of the couple. And that's what I really am interested in, how some of these different things seem to you individually. And so I guess that's enough of an introduction. I'll just return to my original question. What are some of the things that to you seem like the important things, the things that you like or don't like about your partnership, either now or in the past, or if you want to guess about the future?
I feel one thing I really like is that I feel that we grow together. You know, it kind of sounds like a cliche. That's what you always hear about. You know, it's supposed to be. So I really feel like that. Like if I get interested in something, I can get John interested in it, and I feel that I'm more compatible, or he's more compatible with me now than we were at the beginning. You know, he shares a lot more interest than he did at first, just because, you know, he's interested in what I'm interested in. And I really like that feeling.
Are you interested in more of what he's interested in?
Well, I try to be. I am too.
But it's that aspect of growing in the things you share, is that?
And it doesn't have to start out shared either. It can start out as an independent venture, and the other person begins to share.
You can have an interest in something, and gradually perhaps he joins you in that.
I think I feel the same dynamic that Nancy does, that we, in a lot of areas, are growing in the same direction and finding new interests together. On the other hand, one of the things that's been most meaningful to me, I think, is in finding someone who I feel is a very compatible partner, that we share a lot of values, that we always did share a lot of values, and see things very similarly. And I think there's a lot in that to me. I'd gone out with a lot of other girls before I met Nancy, and I never felt that there was someone quite as special to me as Nancy turned out to be.
And that is, in considerable part at least, a matter of really sharing some of the same values. Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does amount to that.
You look young. Has this been going on for a long time or not?
Well, we've been married for 6 months, and we lived together for a year and a half before that. So about 2.5 years we've known each other. In 2 years we've been living together.
What are some of the? Is it a smooth kind of marriage? Does it go up and down, or a smooth kind of partnership? Because I really would like to include the whole period.
I feel like it's smooth, fairly so. Like every day to day, I feel happy, which is one of the things I like about the marriage. It's not that I can sit and intellectually think, this is a good person for me, but just, I get up and I feel happy about this thing. Occasionally, I think we might have a few days in a row where we really get on each other's nerves, but it's not a big problem that suddenly cropped up, but some outside thing we're worrying about that's making us more irritable.
Any comments?
I guess I also see it as being fairly smooth. I feel like right when the process of getting married, that at that time it got to be a little bit bumpier in terms of my own anxieties about changing somehow the nature of our commitment. People we talked to seemed to suggest that it would be different after we were married. And I guess in all honesty, when I look at some of the types of lives that some of our married acquaintances seem to be living, I was a little bit worried that I don't know if I really want that type of thing. You hoped it wouldn't be like that. Huh? I guess I did. I anticipated that it might be, and I wasn't sure. And so I think right at the time of getting married, I was a little bit worried about what it might turn out to be like. But things have gotten very smooth again. And,
but at the time of the marriage, that really gave you more concern than the partnership that had preceded it.
Yeah, it did. It did. I think it. Before I could really feel that every day we were kind of re-choosing each other, and that
you didn't have to be together; you were together.
Right. That somehow there was a freedom that in marriage might not exist.
How about you? Did marriage make any difference as far as you were concerned?
No, I really don't feel any difference at all. John every once in a while will say something about, I do see a difference, and it wasn't like this before. Not that it got especially worse or anything. But I don't know if it was that I felt married before I was, or that I still feel like I'm living together instead of married, but it seems very much the same.
But at least for you, that was no great change in the relationship.
It was a good thing for me because while we were living together, I was worried about my parents finding out about it. So this took a lot of tension off, and that we didn't have to hide this.
You could at least be open about it, right?
Right. So I really enjoyed that.
So in that way, it's been a plus.
I think so.
And you spoke at the first as though you're able to do what you want to do, what you're interested in, and I gather John is able to do the same. Can you say any more about that?
Well, I think this was a very conscious decision that, we said, listen, we both have to be free to do what other things, including dating other people and things like that, because one person can't be everything to another person. I have some interest, even though John's interested in hearing something about it, he can't be as fully enthusiastic about it as I am. So if I want to go out and do it by myself or find a friend to do it with, then, I expect it to be fine, and it is fine. And I think that's really a good thing. We really like it, especially when we see how this is often what has fouled up other couples, that they have all these great expectations of the other person, and they can't do things outside of these lines.
But you feel quite free to do what, you feel free to relate to John, but also feel quite free to do other things that he might not be in on, dating and so on.
I feel that it's really necessary, too. You've got to bring in other things from outside the relationship.
It's two independent people relating, not two people sort of sewed together in a marriage. Anything to say on that?
Yeah, I was just thinking that really resonates with me, that I think the greatest thing which has made me feel relaxed about the marriage is I feel in Nancy I have complete freedom to be myself and whatever I want to do. And at times, some of the things even scare me, things that I might think of or feel like doing. And Nancy, is very accepting about that. And, with her, it's all right to do it. And I know that really makes me feel good, because I can feel I can really be myself and do what I want to do at the time. And I think if it weren't for that, I would still feel somewhat threatened with the idea of being married, that it would be a constraining force, instead of one in which I'm not constrained at all, any more than I used to be.
You don't want to be in a box, and you don't find yourself in a box.
Right. And I think I realize at times, too, that I don't reciprocate with Nancy as much. At times I place more of the role expectation upon her than she does upon me, or I can't be completely as free with her as she is with me, and I know how good it feels to me. And,
you mean you can't quite give her the full amount of freedom that she gives you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Incidentally, if I ask questions that you don't care to answer, don't hesitate to say, no, I'd rather have you be really free in what you say than be pretend an answer. But you said, the freedom that she gives you sometimes leads you to things that even scare you. Would you be willing to give an example or say what you mean by that?
Yeah, I guess a good example is right after we first got married, I still really wanted to go out with some other girls. Sometimes it might be more often than I thought was appropriate. Or it somehow didn't feel exactly right being married and yet going out in very close to a dating situation. And I think I feel the role expectation still more than Nancy does, that when you're married, society and most of your friends see you in the traditional role of being married.
You're supposed to be a husband.
Right, you're supposed to be a husband. A lot of things go with that. There's a lot of things in society which really strengthen the idea that there are certain things which are very inappropriate, and most people live up to them. And so I think when I considered some of the things that we seem to do, or that I seem to be suggesting that I want to do, at least, or I felt that I wanted to do, I'd still kind of hesitate and think, geez, I wonder if I dare say this to Nancy, I wonder if it really is right, if I should be doing this. But Nancy always was able to say, geez, it's all right, and it doesn't bother me.
She's supportive of you even
when I'm not sure of myself.
Yeah, you're not sure yourself. I'd be interested to know, I don't think that's a common attitude. How do you feel you came to the point of view of feeling, yeah, go ahead, you're free to do what you want to do?
Well, I really don't know how too much how it started. It just seemed to the conscious idea was, it was very easy flowing. We didn't suddenly make a decision one night to see how it had to be. The emotional process is a lot more of a lagging thing, where I remember one particular period of about 2 months. It was the springtime, and John was going wild. This was at a time before we were married, but living together. He's going wild, taking girls out every day. And it was really getting to me then, and I would feel very upset. But I'd try and be objective about it, and of course come out being very crooked. And that has just kind of gradually worn off, because every time he goes out with a girl and comes back, and even if he's made love with her or whatever, it's still he comes back to me, and I'm the important one, and
So in spite of those dates and affairs and so on, still it sort of reaffirms you.
Right, because each time he comes back to me, so it's like he said, I'm still, well, it's not really shopping, but I still get to see all these girls, and you're still the one I choose. So it's a constant.
Makes it more of a real choice, that he really does choose you.
So I can, in ways I really like him.
And do you feel as great a freedom as he does? I gather there was some little difference in that. I wondered, do you feel as much freedom to go out with fellows as he does? Or
Well,
he does
not usually, but it's not usually a practical problem, because I'm not a very social type, and I don't usually prefer to go out with people, anyone. And so on occasion, when it does come up, I think I have more of a problem. Not that he forbids me to go out, but he often has, says, well, isn't it kind of dangerous? You don't know this guy. He doesn't know the girls he goes out. Of course, it probably is more dangerous on my part, but, it does feel kind of constraining. Listen, don't go out with him. You don't know what he's like. And so it ends up as kind of constrainment, but he's not doing it maliciously because he wants to constrain him, just because he's honestly concerned.
Out of real concern. And is there any usual answer to what happens then? Do you tend to say, well, I can take care of myself, or do you tend to say, well, if he's concerned, no?
No, I don't go ahead if he's concerned. I never have, have I?
No, I don't think so. I think that's why I feel like I constrain you more than you do me.
I'm not that I usually want to go out that much. If there's somebody that I really wanted to go out with, maybe I would first try and convince him, and it would probably come down to a point, well, if that's the way he feels, then go ahead and do it, and I'd go ahead and do it, even knowing that he had some reservations about it.